Welcome to Achieving Student Outcomes Through Cooperative Learning, Section 4, Part 1, Introduction. Please turn to page 137, Research Quotations, and read the research quotations for this section of the course. Underline or highlight anything that is meaningful to you. Behaviors. Even if we design a beautiful 3D lesson, build in rope, and teach an interpersonal skill, we could still have problems. Do you agree? Please turn to page 138, Behaviors, where you will see the 3D lesson schematic. Sometimes teachers notice negative student behaviors when they are monitoring the do stage of the 3D model. When students are working, negative behaviors may occur. Brainstorm a list of negative behaviors that you have observed students using in group work. See if you can create a list of at least 10 such behaviors. When you have completed your list, determine which 3 are the most frequent. These are the behaviors that you get tired of because they happen over and over. Then write them on page 138 under the heading Most Frequent. Then, from the list of 10, determine which 3 are the most severe. These behaviors may not happen a lot, but when they do, they pose a significant problem. They usually involve health, safety, or emotional issues. Punching, fighting, and racial slurs are examples of severe behaviors. Record them at the bottom of page 138 under the heading Most Severe. Here are 2 lists of frequent and severe behaviors previous participants mention repeatedly. The teacher is monitoring groups and notices one of these behaviors. What can he or she do? What choices does he or she have? Where is his or her power? The teacher's power lies within the structure of the model of the lesson and the choices which are available. Teachers have several choices they can make at any time. This next section of the course, Entering Groups, will help you see those choices and connect with your own power as you do cooperative learning in your classroom. It deals with handling negative student behavior. Whenever we see a negative behavior, we have a choice. We can enter the group now and do something about it, or we can wait until later. Rest assured we are going to do something about negative behavior. The question is not, are we going to do anything? The question is, when? Please turn to page 139, Acting Now or Acting Later. You can draw the graphic organizer that I'm going to draw and make notes on this same page as we look at the 3D model schematic in another way. When you monitor group work and observe the behaviors that we discussed in the last activity, you make choices over and over again. Should you do something about the behavior now, or should you wait and handle it later? As we go through this section of the course, you will be provided with many opportunities to make the choice between acting now or acting later. We have looked at the 3D lesson schematic many times. The action on this schematic flows sequentially from left to right until you reach the final conclusion, positive student outcomes. But let's look at the 3D lesson another way. This schematic drawing uses a graphic organizer to illustrate another way of looking at the 3D model. Step 1 is the subject matter objective. I'll abbreviate that with SMO. Step 2 is the interpersonal skill objective. I'll abbreviate that with ISO. Those 2 represent the first D, direct. Step 3 is students' work. I'll abbreviate that with an SW. Step 4 is teacher monitors and observes, abbreviated with MO. Those 2 steps represent the second D, do. Step 5 is debrief, interpersonal skill, abbreviated with DIS. Step 6 is debrief subject matter, abbreviated with DSM. Those two steps represent the third D, debrief. When problems occur, you are on step 4 of the staircase. Teacher monitors and observes. You may see blank. It is at this point that you decide to do something. You aren't going to ignore the behavior you have observed. The question is when and how you will address it. You ask yourself, do I do something right now or do I wait until later? Waiting until later does not mean ignoring it. It is a specific strategy you can use. We will be discussing the points in the lesson at which you can exert your power as the teacher and decide to enter now or later. You can choose to go into the group and do something now. We will handle that option later when we cover in depth the role of the interventionist versus the role of the interactionist. Instead, we will assume for now that you have decided to wait, to not enter the group now, and to use your other points of power. Please note that this activity has been revised for our remote learning environment. Please go to Canvas, Modules, Section 4, Part 1, Flagrant and Frequent Fouls. You just saw me put the 3D model information into a graphic organizer. Stair steps. The 3D schematic that we have looked at many times is also a graphic organizer. You can use graphic organizers to make visual representations of information. Please turn to page 140, Flagrant and Frequent Fouls. For this activity, you will create a graphic organizer on page 141 that will help you remember the material you just read. You may also create a graphic organizer using a free tech tool. On page 142 are samples of graphic organizers you can choose from. You can put several together, or you can make up a new one of your own. It is up to you. Use your graphic organizer as a memory hook to help you memorize when to go in now and when to stay out of groups by taking action later. When you finish drawing the organizer and filling out with data, quiz each other on the information in preparation for a retention check. Make sure both of you can recall the appropriate times to go in now and later. Retention check time. Thank you for the variety of graphic organizers you created. When all are done with the quiz, we'll take a moment to review the answers so we can observe your creativity with the graphic organizers. You will be taking a pop quiz to check your retention of the material you placed on your graphic organizer. You will be silent during the quiz. Close your manuals and put away your notes and your graphic organizers. On a piece of paper, number 1 through 6 down the left-hand side. You will work individually on this retention check. For responses 1 and 2, list the 2 situations that occur when you should go in now. For responses 3, 4, and 5, list the 3 times to wait until later. So number 1, frequent fouls, flagrant fouls, or in any order. Number 2 would be vice versa, flagrant fouls or frequent fouls. Number 3, if you believe there is a chance that students can handle themselves. Number 4, if students need to experience negative consequences. Number 5, if students are looking to the teacher to solve their problems. Nice job on your retention check. The rest of this session will be for you to work independently through the material. There will now be narrated PowerPoints on Canvas, Modules, Section 4, Part 1 to walk you through the rest of today's activities. Please be sure to post the activities in the discussion area or submitted assignment area before our next class. Remember, even though these activities are not graded, they must be completed to report your successful completion to your university partner. Immediately after this introduction, please return to Canvas, Modules, Section 4, Part 1, Entering Groups. Your first video will explore 3 ACEs if you decide to enter groups later. Your second video delves into the power of choice that we possess. Don't forget to check off that you have completed all section activities, including your section reflection. Let the good times begin. If you have questions while you work, please call or email your instructor. This concludes Section 4, Part 1, Introduction. Please continue to Modules, Section 4, Part 1, Entering Groups, ACEs in the Whole.